Welcome back. It's been a minute. I've got heaps done over the last, I think it's been a month since the last video. I finished machining the engine, well, 99%. You can never say you're quite finished till it's running. I manufactured this Conrod. We're going to talk about this in today's video, sort of the considerations when doing this on a hobby grade CNC mill. How I made it, and yeah, we'll talk about that. As you can see, the engine behind me, it's all sort of dummy assembled. Cylinders are fitted, heads are on, the cam chain's in there, it's being tensioned and it turns over by hand fine. The crankshaft's in there, the oil pump is there. So we're pretty much waiting on the other half of this rod, but I thought I'd stop and make a video so you could see how it's made, what I've been up to, and I'll also show you one of my latest creations. I didn't film this because I wanted to get it done within about 5 days, and with the help of a friend I smashed it out. So I made another mini bike chassis for my new engine. Now, not this engine, just a bog standard Lifan YX140. It went pretty well in the first race, handled pretty good, but there were a few design oversights that prevented me from racing it for the rest of the day. So it's back to the drawing board. I'll just show you guys, and then I'll talk about that as well. If you're interested in that stuff though, the racing and the fabrication side, let me know in the comments. So here's the bike in question. Now, all in all, everything went pretty well. Bike handled pretty good, other than some ungodly chatter. Now, I think the chatter came from the frame bending. Now, I'll show you where the frame bent. Up in here, this tube. Now, this used to be straight. See that? That tube? That was dead straight. So what's happened is it has twisted. So during the course of the second race, I just lost rear ride height. So much so to the point I couldn't even hit the apexes anymore, and I was exiting wider and wider. So the plan this evening is to turn this piece of bar stock into a Conrod for the V-twin engine. So we're going to be pretty tight on space. We've got my 6-inch vise and the adjustable height center. This is used with a dividing head usually, but I am going to run my square stock in the vise, machine one side, flip it 180 degrees, and machine the opposite side. The center will allow me to stick the work out, right out the edge of the vise, and avoid vibrations. So we are going to be pretty tight for space. In lieu of having a fourth axis, you can see I've opted to use some square stock, my vise and a center. Now, all of the machining is being done with this 6mm 4-flute bullnose end mill. It has a 1mm nose radius, and that means all of the pockets, like you can see, have a nice little radius in the corner, and this also allowed me to do some 3D surfacing with a parallel toolpath. I prefer the bullnose to a bullnose end mill for this kind of work because the surface speed at the cutting edge of a bullnose end mill is sufficient to produce a good finish, whereas if this was a
ball nose end mill, so a complete radius. You would see a lot of rubbing, as usually you do most of your cutting with the center, and at the infinite center of something spinning, it's not actually moving. So long story short, the ball nose end mill works really well for doing these 3D surfacing passes. Otherwise it held up for most of the part, although I don't think it was getting enough coolant at times due to my mist system being a little bit intermittent and quite hard to fine tune. And this is what it looked like before flipping it over and doing the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm actually fairly surprised with how well the milling machine handles cutting steel. So for those of you wondering, this is all done at about 3300-ish RPM. I'm running a 1 thou or 0.025mm feed per tooth and a 1mm step over. Now, as I machined the other side and the part got thinner, I did reduce the depth of cut, as I was taking a 6mm depth of cut, so it was 1 times diameter with a 1mm step over, and it was all climb milling. But I did notice that once the part was flipped over, some of these depths of cut had to be reduced. Also, I think that came down to, as I said earlier, the end mill going dull due to my poor cooling system. Excuse the audio, I don't know what happened, but for the next couple of clips the sound didn't seem to record. So here it is, the finished, well, half of the Conrod setup for the engine. So as you saw, I machined this between a vise and a dead center. This was done in 4 orientations. So as you see it, well, it was this way as you see it, machined, flipped, and this was carved out. And then the same on this side. Now, in the first orientation, what I did was rough out the entire part. You can see there are chamfers on everything, fairly small chamfers, larger chamfers here on this sort of recessed area. And the chamfer went a bit funky with the trace toolpath. It didn't quite follow the contour of the rod, but you can also see try pick it up in the light, you can also see the parallel toolpath, the step over. So that was done with a 6mm end mill with a 1mm radius. So I didn't use a ball nose specifically because the centers usually rub, and you're going to get a better finish on something like this with a bull nose, as the surface speed is much higher as you're not cutting with the center of the tool. Otherwise, so quick recap, all roughed down with an adaptive strategy. The shape was contoured, and then I used a finishing strategy to take 0.1mm off all of the floor surfaces to bring them into spec and leave a fairly nice light finish. And then I finished up with a chamfer. So in the initial orientation, 0.5 was stock to leave was left on the bores. Flipped it over exact same, except instead of contouring out the shape, I actually used an adaptive this time and just removed all of the material as it was easier on my end mill. Also from there I did the same, interpolated the holes and then got the boring head out and finished them to size. So that's 13 millimeters, and this hole, it doesn't really matter as I'm making up a bronze bush to suit. And then when I was in my final orientation, I did a contour around the entire part with a 0.05 millimeter step over to get rid of any horizontal lines from the step downs. So as you can see, it went very well. There's realistically no lines in the part. It is very smooth. I'm quite proud of that. And the CNC Mill did pretty well. So obviously it's not super rigid, so you're taking very small cuts with small cutters. So this whole thing was machined with 6mm end mills. And then lastly, it was in this orientation, and I just did an adaptive toolpath and removed all the material from here and here, and then followed up with a contour. What is interesting, however, is as I remove material, obviously, the part was fixtured less and less rigidly, and I got into a little bit of a scenario with chatter. And it turned out it wasn't the chatter, it wasn't the part rigidity causing the chatter, as it was held on each end by a sliver, which was hacksawed and filed. I'll show you the end mill. So the entire part was done with a single, I think it was about $8 to $10 for the end mill, which is 6mm 4 flute. I'll show you the end mill. So here's the end mill I used. It might not look too bad to you, but if I get it in the right light, you can see all the shine along the edge of the flutes, and that's where it's gone blunt or gone dull. So yeah, it made a bit of a heinous chatter towards the end of the part, so I had to swap it out. Now, I think that was my fault, because at the end of the day, my mist cooling system probably wasn't applying enough coolant to the end mill whilst machining the rod. So look forward to the next video. I'll probably make some bushes out of this, press it in here, hopefully have the other rod in my possession. I can get them working together,